Fear Not, episode 152. Hey everybody, before we start the show today, if you're having difficulty in developing lasting self-confidence, stick around after the show because I have an offer that I know will help you. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hello, everybody. Today you and I are going to be joined by jbrown. Welcome, Janine. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you, Billy?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well myself, thank you. Janine is an author, speaker, and coach with a passion for helping women break down barriers to happiness and success. She coaches using gentle but firm methods to encourage personal growth and unlock the inner wisdom of her clients. She provides strategies to find the life purpose of her clients and to encourage them to live lives of openness and clarity while building strong families, warm homes, and powerful businesses. Her first book, Unleash Joy, 30 Days to Clarity, Peace, and Long-Awaited Happiness, is rocking Amazon charts on 7 bestseller lists. Janine, can you take a few moments to fill in those gaps and maybe also give us a brief glimpse of your personal life?
Sure. I am married. I have 5 kids. We live in rural Colorado. We're consummate entrepreneurials. We haven't had jobs for about 13 years and really just strive for a life of freedom. That's really our biggest goal there. And I love what I do. I really enjoy being an author. It's been a wonderful journey, and the author community is fantastic, and just a wonderful, welcoming community of people who want to help each other succeed. It's fabulous, and the coaching community is the same. And I learned at a very young age that I was naturally transformational, and have changed myself and just kind of fit right into the personal development genre and really enjoyed it, and I embraced it in every way and helped people around me to do so as well. So it was only natural for me to kind of move into that as a career now.
Janine, can we start the show today with having you give us a definition of what fear is? Help us to understand what fear is, please.
Sure, absolutely. Fear is the brain's natural ability to protect us from anything that is different or abnormal, really. The brain likes what is normal and comfortable. Therefore, that anything that fits, that is outside of that, our brain sees as being potentially dangerous. And so it tries to protect us from that. And the good news is that our brains are plastic, meaning that they can change, and we can change them ourselves. So we can train our brain to see new normals. But when you encounter something that is different, and say you want to set a goal, your brain's first reaction is, oh, wait a minute, we've never done that before. Are you really sure? And it's just protective. Our brains evolved at a time when that was necessary. You know, you imagine the animated film The Croods, where he's trying to protect his family from things that are new and different, because they could be dangerous, and our brains evolved during that time. The thing is that many of those new different things are actually really good for us, and our brain just doesn't know that. So that's fear. That's my interpretation of it.
Well, thank you for that. And Janine, you know, happiness is such a big component, and I believe, in facing one's fears. So I was hoping today that you could help us to learn to be happy. I know that sounds a little sort of overly simplified, but, you know, I was hoping that you could teach us things that we could incorporate into our lives, that we could become much more happy and obviously much more successful.
Sure, absolutely. In order to be happy, really boils down to a choice, a decision to change, to be happy. And a lot of it is your mindset. And you can trick yourself. There's a phrase, fake it till you make it. And that actually works. Our brains are really amusing in ways in that you can laugh when there's no joke, and your brain excretes dopamine, making you happy. And it's this strange thing. You can trick your brain into being happy even when you don't feel like it. And if you develop habits, and if you work to maybe change your paradigm or your mindset and implement mindfulness techniques, you can transform a life. You can take someone who is immersed deeply in depression and transform them to being full of joy constantly. And I'm an example of that. I had anxiety and depression and still suffer from those things, but I live an incredibly joyous life because I implement regular habits and mindset changes that I worked hard on throughout my life, and mindfulness practices that are specifically geared toward being happy. Many of the habits are really simple, just smiling at yourself in the mirror. It's an incredibly powerful thing to do. Our brains love smiles. Even babies that are tested prefer looking at smiling faces to those that are not. It's something that you're born with. It's just something that the human physiology has created for us. This simple thing that you can do, even when you don't feel like it, and your brain says, oh, she's happy. And it starts to feel that way, even when it's small, even when you don't know it's happening. There's a chemical reaction going on in your mind that's helping you to be happy. People who have their facial muscles damaged in a way that prohibits their ability to smile, they rate far lower on happiness scales because those muscles aren't working in a way that will allow them to smile. And it's just such a small thing, but it makes a huge difference as far as the chemicals in your brain and the way that you feel. Gratitude is one of the smallest and easiest things that people can do. And when I talk about gratitude with a client, they're always surprised that something so simple can make such a huge difference. It makes a difference in your marriage if you can list 3 things you're grateful for in regards to your spouse, in regards to your children, your job. It changes the way you feel every day about those things. Gratitude is extremely powerful and so simple. Really, any habit geared toward making you happy is very easy to do, but hard to implement because willpower is so finite. But if you can make a list, or if you can just try to remember to do these things as part of, say, a morning routine or an evening routine before bed, these small habits can make you happy over time. Keeping your home clean and decluttering can make people happy. Your clutter can kind of bring you down, can overwhelm you. And even just small things, moving one item, can help get you started with momentum to change the energy around you and help you to be happier and remove some of that physical weight around you that can bring you down.
Janine, you're talking about developing habits, and that can be hard to do. So what can we do to maintain that steady course to develop the new habit? Because if we don't, right, it doesn't matter what's available to us, correct? I mean, it just won't happen.
That's right. And like I said before, your willpower is finite. It's not going to last, and it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It's just that you have a willpower cup, and you can fill it up when you're excited about something or when you're starting a new venture. But after a while, that willpower peters out. And so in order to maintain that willpower, or in order to jumpstart it again when it starts to fail, the first thing you need to do is take action. Just a small action can push that momentum forward. Accountability is another thing. Letting friends and family know, I'm changing my life. I'm transforming it. I want to be happier. I think you can help me with this. Can you remind me to smile today? Can you give me a hug just so that I can feel that I'm loved, even though I know, even though you've said it. I just need to feel it. I need a little help here. Making a list and sticking it up somewhere where you can see it every day. This is what I want. I want to be happy, and this is why. Write down why. What do I want for myself? What do I want my future to look like? I read just recently that the greatest gift a parent can give to their child is their happiness. Can you imagine if you thought of your personal attitude as a gift to your child? How do they view you when you're stressed, as opposed to how they view you when you're happy or relaxed or calm? It's a real gift to be mindful and present and joyful around your children or your spouse or anyone else that you meet for that matter. And so reminding yourself of why it's important to you to be happy or why it's important to you to reduce your fear. Those whys are huge. They remind you. And the last thing I would recommend in order to maintain these habits is to constantly put yourself in the emotional state of already having done them. So if I want to feel good at the end of the day, I'm going to imagine that already having happened and feel that sense of accomplishment, feel that relaxed peace and calm and the stress already being gone. And that feeling of having done it already gets you through and tricks your brain again, because your brain loves things that are normal. And if you've already done it in your mind, your brain thinks you've already done it. And that helps you to complete those habits as well.
Is there a frequency that we should be, like some sort of schedule to do these sort of techniques to instill this new habit? Like you were just saying, to visualize a happy end of the day as if it already happened. I mean, can we do that once? Do we need to do that multiple times? Is there a magic number for that?
There is no magic number. And the reason is because we are all different and we all face different challenges throughout the day. If you're having a great day and you got up on the right side of the bed and you visualized your perfect day and you are living it, you do not need to continually practice these things throughout the day. But if you stubbed your toe and the kids are crying and someone dumped the milk on the floor and now you've got to cook breakfast and you didn't expect to and things just aren't going right, then you need to take a moment and redirect, bring yourself back to that place. And reminding yourself that you need to do that is the hard part. And you need to have physical things in your environment that remind you of where you want to be. And that's where you have that why up on the wall, why I'm doing this, why I want to feel this way, why I'm changing my life. That why every day in front of you helps remind you when you have those down times. So there's no magic amount of time to redirect yourself or to follow through with a habit. Everyone is different. And for some people, it's very easy. And for others, it's more challenging and it takes years to implement a habit. There just really isn't any, rounded number that I can just say, this is it. This is the magic button for you. Let's press that and you'll be fixed. Everyone is different.
Janine, there's so many possibilities and so many options that in itself can be overwhelming when you want to be proactive and you want to make that change when you get to that point. So what would be your advice to someone who is just starting out, but just maybe the confusion of what to do and, when there's so many options? Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. I would say one thing at a time. It's very easy to get overwhelmed when you have 1,000 choices. So pick one thing that resonates with you, something that stands out above the others that you say, I can do that. It's small. I can tackle that every day. Once a day, I can go in my bathroom and I can smile at myself in the mirror and take a deep breath and just say, I am enough. Everything's going to be okay. I'm right where I need to be. That's enough for you today. You don't have to do it all. One thing at a time is all that's necessary to move forward. The Japanese have a concept called kaizen. constant and never-ending improvement. It's just this day is a little bit better than the day before. And after a period of great grief, that's really how you have to take your life. It's just one day at a time, a little bit better than we were before. The overwhelm is something that we have invented for ourselves and created. We think that there is so much to tackle at once, but really it's only our own invention. There's only one thing, and that's what's happening right now at this moment. Which thing can you do? Do that.
I almost want to ask you, like, what does happiness feel like? I know that seems kind of silly, but, I just remember how I used to be. I never really knew I just lived in constant fear. So I was trying to think of how, for someone who may be at that stage, we see movies of happiness, we hear songs of happiness, but sometimes we don't know what happiness is.
Right. Well, not knowing what happiness feels like can be painful. I can imagine that. And what I like to do is to take people back to a time when they felt accomplishment or satisfaction or calm. Imagine a vacation or being wrapped up in a comfortable blanket and watching a movie, laughing at a funny scene. Any time when you just felt like, I'm okay right now, or I have nothing to worry about right at this moment. That is enough. Many people, the ancient Greek Stoic philosophers, believed that you don't need to be happy. You just need to be on an even keel. You just need to be content. Contentedness may even be better than being happy or joyful because it's rational and real and attainable for everyone. Being content doesn't mean that you don't long for more. It doesn't mean that there aren't possibilities on the horizon that you're striving for. It means that for now, things are well. There's nothing dangerous about this time. And you know that because you can say, I am in this place, I'm in this room, I'm standing here, I'm breathing, my stomach is full, there is no danger. And when you can remind yourself of the reality of the situation and just be calm and mindful, what is happening right now? What do I hear? What do I see? What do I feel? These bring you to the present moment. And that might be good enough. Happiness is something that we can strive for and attain for, and it sounds really great, but it isn't necessary for peace. And it isn't necessary for a good life, but you can find it the more you have that peaceful tranquility, that even existence of the mindful now.
Janine, I know that you have a very particular point of view when dealing with the phrase I am, and I'm a big proponent for that too. So can you talk a little bit more about that and the importance of those two really powerful words?
Absolutely. The words that you say after I am are maybe the most powerful words that you will ever say out loud. If you say, I am afraid that I will lose my job. I am afraid that my child will never speak to me again. I am afraid that we're about to get a divorce. Those words, you're speaking them into reality. And you are training your brain to think this way and to anticipate these things. Instead, rephrase them in the positive light. I am working hard so that I don't lose my job. I am protecting my relationship with my child and reaching out to them. I am actively working to persevere through my marriage and through the rough spots and work through it with my partner. Always change it to something positive and catch yourself if the words coming after I am are negative in any way. It's incredibly powerful. I had a friend point out to me, even just recently, that I had said fear-related statements when I used the words I am. And it shocked me because this is something I talked about often, and I can't imagine that I was doing this, but I did. And by changing these words, it changed everything. It transformed my thoughts in a matter of minutes, and I was able to tackle some projects that had been giving me some trouble. And it was because I was allowing myself to think negatively. And I am is so very powerful.
Janine, if someone would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can reach me at my website, jbrown.com. I'm on Twitter at jbrown and on Facebook, facebook.com/Janine R. Brown.
And Janine, what parting advice would you like to leave with us today?
I would just say that your mind loves what is normal and comfortable. And the longer you stay in a state of fear, the more your mind sees that state as normal and comfortable. And to break that cycle, you must train your mind to see motivation, excitement, and courage as the new normal. And you do that with affirmation, visualization, meditation, EFT, things like that, and taking action no matter how small.
That's really excellent advice, and thank you so much for that. And Janine, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. You've been really amazing and just given us some really great information on how we can be centered and go from life from there. So I want to thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. I loved it. It was an honor.
Hello again, everybody. I hope you found today's guest inspirational. But if you're still struggling with fear and you're lacking self-confidence, consider taking one of my 3-person Unshakable Self-Confidence intensive workshops. For 2 days, you and 2 other people will work with me directly, and together we will find out what is the root of your problem, what is blocking you from having the confidence in yourself that you'll need in order to obtain your goals. If you'd like more detailed information about this intensive, email me at billy@livingbeyondyourfears.com. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.